I want to start today by asking you to just check your battery level.
Oh.
And I don't mean the little icon in the corner of your phone screen.
Okay, good. I was worried.
No, I mean the battery that's, inside your chest.
Yeah.
How are you doing, really?
That is a dangerous place to start a conversation.
It is, but just bear with me for a second.
Yeah.
Picture a specific moment. It's, say, 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. You've just walked out of a one-on-one.
Okay.
And in that meeting, your direct report just started crying.
Oh, the worst.
And you didn't really know why. You didn't know what to do. You
Yeah.
just sort of, you hand them a tissue and you just sit there feeling completely useless.
Yeah, that awkward silence.
So you walk back to your desk or, your kitchen table and you've got 45 unread Slack messages. 3 of them are marked urgent.
Of course.
You have a big strategy document due at 5 p.m. that requires, deep, complex thinking. But you've got 3 more meetings before then. And on top of all of that, you just feel this profound sense of emptiness.
It's not just feeling tired, is it?
Yeah.
It's a rattle. It's the feeling that the machinery is grinding gears.
Exactly. It's that feeling where you just stare at your monitor and the words, they just swim. And usually the instinct is to think, is this just me? Am I just bad at this?
Or, I need a vacation. That's the other big one.
Right. But today, we are diving into a stack of research and writing on what's called resilient management that says, no, a vacation won't fix this. And no, you are not broken, but your systems.
Yeah.
Your systems might be.
And we're looking at what is effectively a survival manual for leaders who are just tired. And what I really love about this source material is that it doesn't just offer you platitudes. It doesn't say, oh, just meditate more or drink some green juice.
Thank goodness. If I hear just breathe one more time while my hair is on fire, I think I might just scream.
Right. This material treats management not as like a soft skill or a vibe, but as a structural engineering challenge.
Ooh, I like that.
It argues that your energy is a finite resource, just like a budget. So we're going to look at communication tactics, energy audits, and how to build a support system that actually works.
And the metaphors. Oh, man, the metaphors we have today.
Pretty good.
We have color-coded playing cards. We have 1980s robot cartoons. We have Legos. It's a very weird but very specific toolkit, and we are going to unpack every single piece of it.
It is quirky, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But the mission of this deep dive is really serious. We want to hand you an invisible toolkit.
Yeah.
By the end of this, we want you to be able to look at your calendar, look at your team, and look at your own energy levels and know exactly which lever to pull to survive the week without losing your mind.
Okay, so let's get into it. Let's start with the thing that I think drains managers the most.
Yeah.
It's not the work itself. It's the feeling that you are talking. But nobody's understanding you.
Yes.
The source calls this the chameleon leader concept.
Right. And the core problem here, the thing everyone's experienced, is the blank stare. You give your team what you think is vital information. Maybe it's about a reorg, a deadline, a change in strategy, and you get nothing back.
Nothing, just crickets.
Or worse, you get confusion. You see them walking away and they're whispering to each other, trying to decode what on earth you just said.
And you're just sitting there thinking, I spoke English. The words were clear. What happened?
But the source material suggests that the issue isn't always what you're saying, but the energy you're using to say it. And this leads to a visualization that I think it's brilliant.
The cards.
The cards. The author suggests you visualize your communication styles not as your personality, which we tend to think of as fixed, right?
I am who I am.
Exactly. Instead, think of it as a hand of cards you can play.
I love this because it immediately detaches the behavior from your identity. Usually we say, I'm a nice person or I'm a really direct person, and that feels so permanent.
It feels permanent. And if you identify as, say, a nice person, you will struggle to ever give critical feedback because it feels like a violation of your very self.
You feel like you're being a fraud.
A total fraud. But if you view it as a card game, you can say, okay, I am holding a hand of colored cards. I can pick one up, play it on the table for this specific meeting, and then I just put it back down.
It's a tool, not a personality trait. So let's walk through the deck. The source lays out a whole spectrum here, and I want to go through them one by one because I have a feeling most of us are clutching 1 or 2 of these and just ignoring the rest. Let's start with red.
Okay, red. This is the card of urgency. It's got an edge, it's frustration, it's even a little bit of anger.
Which sounds negative. Right. We are taught that anger is bad leadership.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be the calm in the storm.
It can be bad, for sure, if it's uncontrolled or personal. But think about a time when a deadline was missed,
Okay.
and not just once, but 3 times in a row. The team is being really casual about it. Oh, we'll get to it next sprint.
I've lived this. This is painful.
We all have. If you come into that meeting with a chill vibe, playing a calm, cool blue card, what are you signaling to them?
That it doesn't matter. That I'm not worried, so they shouldn't be worried.
Exactly. You are signaling safety when the situation is actually dangerous for the project, for the company. Playing the red card in that moment, it signals, stop, pay attention, this is critical, I am not happy about this.
So it's about creating friction.
Yes. And sometimes friction is the only thing that creates heat and movement.
Okay, so red is a spotlight. You don't live there,
Yeah.
but you have to be willing to visit.
Got it.
Okay, next up is orange.
Orange is cautious, it's hesitant, it's tiptoeing.
Now, when would you ever want to be hesitant? As a leader, you're supposed to be decisive. Hesitant sounds weak. It sounds like you don't know what you're doing.
Well, let's take a scenario. Imagine there's a rumor of a layoff going around.
Tense.
Or a big merger. But you don't have the ink on the paper yet, you don't have all the facts. If you come in confident and loud, playing a bold card, and you say, don't worry, everyone, everything is fine, what happens if you're wrong?
Your credibility is torched. Instantly.
Gone. Forever. In that moment, playing the orange card showing measured caution, that actually builds trust. You can say, look, I don't know everything yet. I am engaging with this carefully. I promise I will tell you as soon as I know more. That hesitation shows you respect the gravity of the situation.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. It's about being precise with the truth, even if the truth is, I don't know. Okay, yellow. The source mentions this one is actually really hard for some people.
Yellow. This is lightheartedness, effervescence, cracking jokes. It's the energy of levity.
I feel like I live in the yellow zone. That's my comfort zone. If things get awkward, I'll make a joke.
For a lot of people, it is. But the source notes that for some very serious, very analytical leaders, people who pride themselves on being professional, yellow feels impossible. It feels frivolous. They think we are here to work, not to giggle.
So why is it necessary? Why do we need the giggling?
Think about a team that has been grinding for 6 months. They are totally burnout adjacent. The tension in the Slack channel is, palpable.
You can feel it.
They don't need another strategy doc. They don't need a red card. They need a release valve. They need their leader to crack a silly joke, to be human, to just lighten the load in the room for a minute. If you can't play yellow, you can't reset the room's oxygen.
I never thought of it as an oxygen reset.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, there we have green.
Green is high EQ. It's loving. It's in tune with feelings. This is the how are you really doing energy. It's the card you play when you know someone is going through a divorce or really struggling with a task.
And blue. You mentioned this one earlier.
Blue is calm, cool, collected. The source mentions this is the default for many experienced leaders. It's the steady hand on the wheel. The server is down. Okay, team, let's fix it. It absorbs panic.
Then we get into the moodier stuff. Purple.
Purple is creative. It's flowy. It's about storytelling. It's less about facts and figures and more about the narrative arc. It's the I have a dream card. You play this when you need to inspire people to build something that doesn't exist yet.
And brown.
Brown is the card of nuance, complexity, ambiguity. It's for when you need to say, hey, this isn't black and white. Let's explore all the gray areas. It's sort of the academic card.
And finally, the one that I think scares people the most.
Black.
The black card? It's blunt, unfeeling, dry, no nuance.
Again, that just sounds terrible, unfeeling. That sounds like a fast track to an HR complaint.
It can be, for sure, if you use it to be cruel. But think about a meeting that is dragging on for 2 hours.
We've all been there.
Everyone is just talking in circles. They're all playing the brown card of nuance until everyone is asleep. They are bike shedding, arguing about the color of the bike shed while the nuclear plant is burning down behind them.
Oh, that is the most painful meeting in the world.
Someone needs to play the black card. Someone needs to be the one to just say, we are done. Here's the decision. This meeting is over. It cuts through all the noise. It's not about being mean. It's about providing clarity. It saves the team from their own indecision. So the strategy here isn't to pick one and say, that's me. It's to look at your hand and ask, what does this room need from me right now?
Exactly. And this leads directly to what the source calls the inauthenticity paradox.
Oh, I like that term. Unpack that for us.
Well, the source acknowledges that it feels fake. It feels wrong to switch colors. If you are naturally a green leader, very empathetic, very loving, it feels physically uncomfortable, almost like you're lying, to suddenly play the black card and be blunt.
Right, you feel like a fraud. You think, this isn't me. I'm not being authentic to myself. And we are told constantly to bring our whole selves to work.
But the point here, and the source emphasizes this so heavily, is that leadership isn't about your comfort. It's about what the team needs to succeed.
That's a heavy realization.
It is. If your team is panicking because the building is on fire, they do not need you to be authentic to your own panic. They need you to play the blue card of calm, even if you are screaming inside.
So it's almost like acting.
It is a performance, but it's a performance with a purpose. The source calls it an act of service. It gives a great example. Imagine a new, scary initiative is launching. Everyone is balking at it. They're scared.
Right.
If you come in playing your default red card of urgency, you'll just scare them more. You have to consciously choose to play orange measured caution, to say, I see the risks, I understand them, let's walk through them together. You are meeting them where they are.
So the homework assignment here for everyone listening is to analyze your own hand. What is your default card?
Most of us have one. I know I default to blue and brown, calm and nuanced. I love getting into the weeds of complexity.
I'm definitely yellow on purple jokes and stories. I want everyone to like me and be inspired.
And then the really important question is, which card scares you? Which one do you never, ever play? Because that is probably the missing tool in your toolkit. If you never play the red card, your team might not know when things are actually serious. If you never play the green card, they might burn out because they think you just don't care about them as people.
I love that. It gamifies the emotional labor of management. Instead of thinking, oh, God, I have to be mean now, it's, I need to play the black card in this situation. It creates a little psychological distance.
That distance is the key to resilience. It stops you from taking it all so personally. You aren't being a jerk. You are utilizing a specific tool for a specific problem.
Okay, so we got our colors. We know how to talk to the team to get them moving. But what about when we need to talk to other departments? Or even our own bosses? This is where the source transitions into what I'm calling the universal translator.
This is one of the most practical and, frankly, eye-opening sections of the material. It starts with this fantastic story about web performance that just perfectly illustrates why departments in a company so often end up hating each other.
Right, so the author was running a web performance team. Their entire job is to make the website load fast, shave off milliseconds.
And naturally, the engineers on that team love this work. Engineers in general enjoy optimization. It's a puzzle. How do I shave off 100 milliseconds from this query? They were inherently bought in. You didn't need to convince them to do the work.
But then comes the conflict. They needed help from the designers and the product managers and those groups. They just did not care.
Not at all. The author's showing them these dashboards, these graphs, all this data. Look how slow we are in this region, and getting absolutely nothing back. Blank stares.
This is such a classic Tower of Babel situation in business, isn't it?
Totally. The author was speaking engineering to people who only speak design and product. They were showing graphs of time to first byte to a designer whose main concern is user delight and brand aesthetics.
So instead of just yelling louder or making bigger, scarier graphs, which is what most of us would do, the authors stopped to investigate. I love this pivot. They became a detective.
They asked the fundamental question: what motivates these other people? What is their currency?
Let's start with the designers. What did the investigation find? What was their currency?
The designers cared deeply about the brand. They cared about how the company was perceived by the outside world, the premium feel. They wanted the site to feel luxurious and smooth and polished.
So showing them a graph of server response times is completely and utterly useless.
It's just noise to them. It doesn't connect to what they value. So the author pivoted. They stopped showing graphs and started showing videos.
Videos.
Yeah. They recorded the website loading on slow connections in different parts of the world. They showed the site stuttering, images popping in late, fonts glitching out. The whole experience just looked cheap and broken.
And suddenly, the designers care.
Because the currency changed. The argument wasn't, it's slow by 300 milliseconds. The argument became, sluggishness is hurting the brand. It was now a brand problem, not a technical problem.
That is brilliant. Okay, so what about the product managers? They usually care about shipping features, right? Performance work is like eating your vegetables. It just slows them down.
This one was even more specific and honestly a bit hilarious. The author realized that these particular PMs were all trying to impress a specific single boss, a director-level person. And this boss, it turned out, was a bit unfair and demanding.
Ah, the common workplace villain. The yeller.
Something like that. But here's the key piece of intel. The author found out that this specific boss received a daily automated report at 6 a.m. every single morning. And that report listed the fastest and slowest pages on the entire site.
Oh, I see exactly where this is going.
Don't you? The currency here wasn't brand or user experience or milliseconds. The currency was not getting yelled at by my boss at 9 a.m.
So the author just went to the PMs and said, hey, just so you know, the boss sees that your new feature page is at the bottom of this list every morning.
And like magic, performance suddenly became a top priority. It shot to the top of the backlog.
Now, a cynic might hear that and say that it's manipulative.
I'd argue it's not manipulation, it's translation. The goal, a faster website, remained exactly the same. It was good for the user, it was good for the company. The work that was required was the same. The only thing that changed was how the value of that work was explained.
So the lesson for everyone listening is, you have to stop assuming that everyone cares about what you care about.
Correct. You have to do the work to identify the currency of your audience. If you're talking to your CEO, their currency is probably revenue or hiring goals or the stock price. Do not talk to them about code quality unless you can directly connect it to one of those things.
And if you're talking to a junior developer,
their currency might be learning a new programming language or getting a good project for their promo packet or career growth. Frame the work in those terms.
The source suggests developing an elevator pitch for your team's work, but having multiple different versions of it.
Yes. You need the CEO version, the marketing team version, and the internal team version. And the source explicitly says, do the legwork. Listen to what people talk about in the cafeteria or on the all-hands calls. Listen to what they complain about. That is their currency.
This idea of translation is such a good skill. It saves so much energy because you stop banging your head against a wall.
And it connects right back to resilience, right?
Right.
Nothing drains you faster than shouting into the void and feeling like you're not being heard. When you translate effectively, you get that nod. You get the buy-in, and that gives you energy back.
Let's move to the next layer of communication. We've talked about individuals and teams. Now let's talk about the organization as a whole. The source calls this the evolution of communication.
This is all about scaling. The central idea here is that the way you communicate has to change as the company grows. Winging it stops working.
And they use Etsy as the main case study for this, right?
Right. In the very early days of Etsy, promotions were announced, totally ad hoc. Maybe an email went out. Maybe a manager just stood up and said, hey, congrats to Sarah on the promotion. Maybe nothing happened at all, and Sarah just, quietly updated her LinkedIn profile.
Which sounds kind of casual and fun in a startup. We're too cool for all that corporate memo stuff.
Yeah.
But I can immediately see how that becomes a nightmare.
It causes massive anxiety. If you see Sarah get this big public shout out, but you just got a quiet email from your boss when you were promoted a month ago, you start thinking.
Does the company value me less? Is my promotion not as real as hers? Did I do something wrong?
Exactly. It creates a breeding ground for insecurity and gossip.
So what was the fix at Etsy?
Structure. They just formalized it. They created a simple rule. If you were at a junior level, the announcement went out to the immediate team. If you were at a senior level, it went to the whole department. If you were a director level or above, it went to the entire company.
It sounds a little bureaucratic. It sounds like big company stuff.
It is, but the source argues that this kind of bureaucracy is actually kind. There's a great phrase, clarity is kindness. By creating a rigid, predictable structure, you remove all the ambiguity. No one has to wonder if they were slighted. They know the rules.
The lesson here seems to be that communication channels cannot be set it and forget it.
That's it exactly.
Yeah.
The way you communicated when you were 10 people cannot possibly be the way you communicate when you're 50 or 150. You have to constantly be auditing your channels. Is this all-hands meeting still working? Is this newsletter still effective? That's a question you should be asking every single quarter.
Okay, we've covered the day-to-day communication stuff.
Yeah.
Now we need to go to the dark side. We have to talk about crisis.
The heavy stuff.
The source makes a point that I think is really validating for a lot of managers out there. Teams don't just reach performance and then stay there forever. We have this model in our heads: forming, storming, norming, performing.
Right. We think performing is the destination.
Yeah, and once we arrive, we can just set up a hammock and relax.
But the reality is what the source calls continuous storming.
Which sounds absolutely exhausting.
It is if you don't expect it. But teams are dynamic systems. Layoffs happen. Reorgs happen. A key person quits. A global pandemic happens. An election happens. Every single time a major variable changes, the team resets. You fall right back into storming.
And the source says this reality check is crucial for resilience.
It is, because otherwise you feel like you're failing every time things get rocky again. You aren't failing, you're just restarting the cycle. It's normal.
So let's talk about the biology of this. The source brings up the amygdala hijack.
This is so essential for any leader to understand. We like to think we're rational beings, but at our core, we're animals. When a human being is in crisis, when they're experiencing fear, shock, deep stress, the amygdala, the lizard brain, it just takes over. It's a fight or flight center.
And what does that do to our ability to think clearly?
It shuts down the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of the brain responsible for complex logic, for nuance, for long-term planning. You literally cannot process complex information when you're scared.
So as a manager, if you try to explain a layoff with a 40-slide deck full of nuanced economic theory and complex graphs,
you are failing. They physically cannot hear you. Their brain is scanning the horizon looking for the tiger in the bushes.
so you have to simplify everything.
You must reduce the cognitive load. Be clear, be direct, be repetitive. Here's what is happening. Here's what it means for you. Here's the next step. Do not try to be purple and creative or brown and nuanced during a crisis. You usually need to be blue, calm, and black, which is clear and blunt.
Now, the source brings up a really difficult type of crisis,
Right.
the external crisis, the news, politics, human rights issues, things that happen outside the office but come inside with the human being.
Yes, and there is a powerful quote in the source material from an expert named Nicole Sanchez. She talks about the experience of a marginalized employee coming into work on a Monday morning after a weekend where something horrific has happened in the news, targeting their community. She calls it a racist hellscape.
And then a well-meaning colleague comes up, smiles, and asks, "Hey, how was your weekend?"
And that disconnect, that huge gap between I am fearing for my safety and the safety of my family and did you do anything fun, is just devastating. It alienates the employee. It reinforces that they are not safe or seen at work. It says, your reality does not exist in this space.
So what does the source say a manager should do? Because I think a lot of managers just freeze in that situation. They don't want to say the wrong thing, so they say nothing at all.
And silence is also a message, right?
A very loud one.
The source says preparation is key. Know your EAP, your Employee Assistance Program benefits before the crisis hits. You don't want to be scrambling to find the phone number for mental health support while someone is crying in your office.
And what about in the moment?
The source offers some scripts, and they are very specific. Instead of ignoring it or, on the other end, prying for personal details, you focus on the work impact. You can ask things like, how else could we meet this goal? Or, what would be the impact of moving this deadline?
You're giving them permission to drop the ball without having to ask for it, without feeling guilty.
Exactly. You are assuming their capacity is reduced, and you are proactively adjusting the load. You aren't playing therapist. You are playing resource manager, which is your job.
Now, this leads to what I think is the most important script correction in the entire deep dive. The source calls it the comfort trap.
This is a critical point. If you take one thing away from this entire section, please make it this.
So here's the scenario. An employee comes to you and shares some really bad news. Maybe it's a medical diagnosis, a death in the family, or just that they're deeply, deeply burnt out. The natural human instinct for most of us is to say, oh my God, I feel sick hearing that, or I am so devastated for you.
It comes from a good place. It's empathy. You're trying to connect. But the source argues this is a huge trap.
Why? It sounds so supportive on the surface.
Because when you say, I feel sick, you have just made the conversation about your feelings, you have centered your own distress, and now the employee, who is the one actually suffering, feels a subconscious need to comfort you.
Oh, wow.
They end up being the ones saying, oh, don't worry, boss, I'll be okay, don't be sad.
That is, wow. I have definitely done that. I've done the, oh no, I'm so sorry, and then they end up patting me on the back. It's so backwards.
We all have. There's this concept called the ring theory of kvetching. Comfort flows in, and you dump your stress out. The person in crisis is in the center ring. You must comfort them. You then dump your stress out to your friends or your own manager. You never, ever dump it in to the person who is suffering.
So what is the better script? What did we say instead?
You focus entirely on their needs. You remove the word I from the sentence as much as possible. You say, I am so sorry you are going through this. Would it be helpful to take the afternoon off?
Or would it be helpful to talk about it? Or would you prefer to just focus on work as a distraction?
Precisely. It's action-oriented support, not emotional mirroring. That protects the employee from having to perform emotional labor for you when they are already completely empty.
We've talked a lot about saving the team. Now we have to talk about saving yourself. This brings us to Section 5, the energy audit.
Because the source asks the question every manager asks eventually, usually while they're staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., when does this get easier?
And the answer is?
It doesn't. You just get more resilient.
Brutal. But, honest.
The problem, according to the source material, isn't just the number of hours you work. It's the context switching. It's the jumping from a hiring meeting to a firing meeting to a strategy session to debugging a critical issue.
This is where the concept of brain types comes in. I love this technique. The author started color-coding their calendar, not by the topic of the meeting, but by the brain used.
Let's break down the brains, because this is so useful. First, you have manager brain. This is for your 1.1s, emotional connection, listening, coaching. It requires deep empathy and presence.
Okay.
Second, dissemination brain. This is when you're standing in front of a group broadcasting information, like an all-hands meeting or a project kickoff.
Right, one to many.
Then there's strategy brain. This is for planning, looking ahead, abstract thinking, looking at spreadsheets.
And the last one.
Focus brain. This is for solo work, writing a document, coding, deep, uninterrupted thought.
And what the author realized was that their calendar looked like a bag of Skittles. It was just a rainbow of chaos.
A total mess. Manager brain at 9 a.m., focus brain at 10:00, strategy at 11:00, then back to manager brain at noon. Every single switch takes a toll. The source likens it to shifting gears in a car without using the clutch.
Oof.
Eventually, the transmission just blows.
So the fix is to defrag the calendar, like you would an old hard drive.
Batching, that's the key. Put all of your 1.1s on Tuesday and Thursday. Keep Wednesday morning completely clear, no meetings, for focus brain. Even if you work the exact same number of hours, the energy cost is so much lower because you aren't constantly switching gears.
I actually tried this recently. I put all my admin stuff on Friday mornings, expense reports, approvals, clearing out my inbox. It is life-changing. I just stay in boring form-filling mode for 3 hours straight.
It works. You can enter a flow state, even for boring tasks if you batch them.
The other tool the source brings up for saving yourself is the Eisenhower matrix.
An oldie but a goodie. It's been around forever because it works.
It's that simple 2x2 grid, urgent versus important.
Yeah.
So if something is both urgent and important, you do it now.
Right. If it's important but not urgent, you schedule it. You put it on the calendar for later.
If it's urgent but not important, and this is where a lot of email and Slack messages live, you delegate it.
And if it's neither urgent nor important, you eliminate it. You just don't do it.
That eliminate box is the key, isn't it? We do so many things that are neither urgent nor important just because somebody asked us to.
But the hardest part is actually saying no. We all want to be seen as helpful and capable.
Which brings us to the third technique, using your priorities as a shield.
This is a great reframing. We often say no, very apologetically. Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm just too busy right now.
Which sounds weak. And it invites pushback. People hear, I'm busy right now, but maybe ask me again in an hour.
Exactly. They'll come back with, oh, can't you just squeeze it in? It'll only take 5 minutes.
So what's the better way?
Instead, the source suggests you reference the agreed upon priorities. You say something like, I really care about this project and I'd love to help, but we all decided as a team that the #1 priority this quarter is Project B, so I cannot take this on right now.
So it depersonalizes the no. It's not, I don't want to help you. It's the strategy that we all agreed on prevents me from helping you.
It makes the no structural, not personal. And it forces the other person to argue with the strategy, which is a much harder argument to win, not with you as a person.
Okay, so speaking of delegation and structure, we have to talk about Legos.
Molly Graham's Lego metaphor. Yeah. This is probably one of the most famous concepts in tech management, and for a very good reason.
The setup is this common trap that managers fall into. We want to give our team these clean projects. We wrap them up with a perfect bow. Here is a task. I have defined it perfectly. I have outlined all the steps. You cannot possibly fail.
We do this to protect them. And let's be honest with ourselves. To protect ourselves from having to clean up a mess later, it's about control.
But the source says this is fundamentally wrong.
The best gift you can give a developing leader on your team is a messy, unscoped, chaotic project. A big, disorganized bag of mixed-up Legos.
That sounds kind of cruel.
Because that is how you learn leadership. If I give you the instruction manual and all the pieces in neat little bags, you are just an assembler. You are following a manual. But if I give you a giant pile of bricks and just say, build a tower, You have to become an architect.
You have to solve problems, ask for help, deal with ambiguity.
All the real skills of leadership. But the emotional side of this, the really hard part for the manager, is the giving away your Legos concept.
This is where it gets personal.
It does. As a leader, you have Legos. These are responsibilities that you love. Maybe you love writing the weekly newsletter. Maybe you still love coding the homepage. Maybe you love running the morning stand-up meeting. These are your Legos. You built the tower. It's yours.
And now you have to hand it to someone else on your team.
And the fear is visceral. It's, they won't build it the way I would. They will use the wrong colors. The tower will be crooked.
Or they'll get all the credit for my tower.
That's a big one, too. But the metaphor explains, if you don't give away your Legos, your hands are full. You cannot pick up the new Legos, the bigger, more strategic, more complex challenges that you should be working on if you are still clutching the old ones.
You have to empty your hands to grow.
And you have to accept that the new person might build the tower differently. And here's the really scary part. They might even build it better. And that ego hit is something you just have to learn to absorb as a manager.
But to make this safe, because just dumping work on someone is scary for both people, the source recommends using an RCI matrix.
Yes. Don't just dump the Legos and run away. That's not delegation. That's abandonment. You need a contract.
So let's break down RCI. R-A-C-I.
R is for responsible. That's the employee. They are responsible for doing the work. A is for accountable. They own the result, the success or failure. C is for consulted. That's you, the manager. You are there for advice when they need it. And I is for informed. You get updates on their progress.
So this defines the safety net. You're saying, you build the tower, but I am right here if you run out of bricks or if it starts to wobble.
And you should be specific about the support. Don't just say, let me know if you need help. Say, DM me if you've been stuck on this for more than 24 hours. That is a clear safety net. It gives them permission to struggle for a bit, but not to drown.
We're coming into the home stretch here. We've built this resilient manager. We have the colors, the translation skills, the energy audit. But even Superman needs a team.
Or in this case, Voltron.
Yes. 6-7. Building your manager, Voltron.
For anyone too young to remember, Voltron was this cartoon robot made up of 5 smaller individual robot lions. They would combine to form the super robot.
And the concept here is that no single mentor can be everything to you.
We so often look for the mentor, this one wise, perfect person who can teach us strategy, listen to our venting, help us with technical skills, and help us get our next promotion. That person does not exist.
It's unfair to ask one human to be your therapist, your coach, and your technical lead all at once.
And the author shares this really great story about their den. They had to fire someone for the first time, a truly awful milestone in any manager's life.
The worst.
And they didn't go to just one person, they used a group. Friend A, they role-played the difficult conversation with them. They acted as the employee so the author could practice the script.
Oh, that's smart.
Friend B gave technical advice on the PIP, the performance improvement plan, and all the legalities. Friend C just listened. No advice, just let the author cry and vent and get it all out.
And the whole group?
The whole group took them out for drinks afterward.
That is the manager Voltron. You need a technical lion, an emotional support lion, a strategic lion, and a distraction lion.
It's a portfolio approach to your own support system. If you rely on just one person, you will either burn them out or they will eventually fail you in a specific area where they aren't an expert. But if you build a Voltron, you are supported from all angles.
So let's wrap this all up. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have. We've talked about the color cards, the idea of choosing the energy the team needs, not just what you happen to feel in the moment.
We talked about translation, doing the work to find the currency of the person you are talking to, instead of assuming they care about what you care about.
We discussed the comfort trap during a crisis, that critical lesson to never, ever make the employee who is suffering have to comfort you.
We looked at the energy audit color coding, the different brain types on your calendar, to avoid that costly context switching.
And finally, we talked about giving away your Legos so you can grow and building your Voltron so you don't have to do it all alone.
When you put it all together, the big theme is that resilience. It's not about being tough. It's not about just having a thick skin.
No, resilience is structural. It's about having systems, calendars, scripts, networks that hold you up when your own personal energy fails. It is about being a professional operator of your own psychology and your own time.
I want to leave the listener with a thought that really stuck with me from that Lego section. The source says, giving away your Legos is the only way to move on to building bigger things.
It's the ultimate growth hack for you and for them.
So here is my question to you as you're listening to this right now. What Lego are you clutching? What task, what meeting, what decision are you holding on to because you're scared someone else will do it wrong?
And by holding on to it so tightly, who on your team are you preventing from learning and growing? And what new, bigger, more interesting thing are you preventing yourself from picking up?
Look at your hands. Drop the Lego. See what happens.
It might just be the best tower yet.
Thanks for diving in with us. See you next time.